The most dangerous moment in any man's life is not when he is broke, not when he is broken, and not when he is beaten down by circumstances. Let me submit to you that the most dangerous moment in a man's life is when he becomes comfortable, when he finally arrives at a place where the struggle stops, where the bills are paid, where the applause comes easily, where people know his name, where he no longer has to prove himself. That moment, that very moment when you lean back in your chair and say, I have made it, is the moment you stop growing. And anything that stops growing starts dying. You see, we have been taught to celebrate arrival. We have been conditioned to believe that the goal of life is to reach a place of comfort, a place of ease, a place where you no longer have to fight. But comfort is a cemetery for champions. Ease is the enemy of evolution. When you become satisfied with where you are, you disconnect from where you were designed to go. And the moment you disconnect from design, you abort destiny. Where purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. A man who does not know why he was manufactured will use himself incorrectly. He will measure his life by the wrong standards. He will celebrate the wrong victories. He will rest at the wrong stations. Most men are not living. They are just managing their existence. They wake up, they go through motions. They collect paychecks. They chase weekend relief, and they call that a life. But a life without assignment is not living. It is rehearsing for death. The manufacturer never creates a product for the factory. The factory is simply where the product is assembled, tested, and prepared. But the product is designed for a market, for a problem, for a specific need, in a specific environment. You were not born for your mother's house. You were not designed for your neighborhood. You were not manufactured for your current income level or your present circle of friends. Those are just the factory. You were designed for a global assignment. And until you discover that assignment, you will keep celebrating small wins and calling them success. Success without assignment is failure in progress. You can be successful and still be wrong. You can have money, influence, recognition, comfort, and still be completely off course. Because success is not about what you accumulate. It is about what you accomplish in relation to why you were born. A pen is successful when it writes, not when it sits in a gold case on a desk. A seed is successful when it produces, not when it is stored in a beautiful container. And a man is successful when he fulfills assignment, not when he simply survives until retirement. But here's the tragedy. Most men never discover their assignment because they are too comfortable in their current condition. They have just enough money to stop asking questions. They have just enough recognition to stop seeking deeper purpose. They have just enough achievement to convince themselves they have arrived. And comfort whispers to them every morning, why risk what you have? Why disturb what is working? Why go looking for something more when you already have something good? Good is the enemy of great. Comfort is the assassin of calling. The moment you settle for good enough, you lock the door on your greatness. You don't need motivation, you need revelation. You need to see that the life you are living right now, as good as it may be, is not the life you were designed for. You are a prototype living like a duplicate. You are an original trying to succeed as a copy. And as long as you measure yourself by what others have accomplished, you will never step into what only you were created to do. Let me show you something about design. Every product manufactured has specifications. Those specifications determine its function, its capacity, its environment, and its limitations. If you take a product and place it in the wrong environment, even if that environment is more comfortable, the product will malfunction. A fish can survive in an aquarium, but it was designed for the ocean. The aquarium is easier, safer, more controlled, but it is not the fish's assignment. And a fish that stays in the aquarium will never know the fullness of its design. You were not designed for safety. You were designed for dominion. You were not manufactured for comfort. You were manufactured for impact. And the longer you stay in environments that feel good but limit your function, the more your capacity atrophies. Your gifts shrink to the size of your environment. Your vision adjusts to the limitations of your current reality. And slowly, without even realizing it, you become a smaller version of what you were created to be. Now let me submit to you that there is a difference between success and fulfillment. Success is about reaching goals. Fulfillment is about completing assignment. You can reach every goal on your list and still die unfulfilled, because goals are what you set for yourself. But assignment is what was set for you before you were born. Goals can be adjusted. modify, change based on circumstances. But assignment is locked into your design. It is non-negotiable. It is why you were released into the earth at this specific time, in this specific generation, with this specific combination of gifts, experiences, and burdens. Every person born carries a solution. You are not here by accident. You are not a random collection of cells that happen to form consciousness. You were intentionally designed, deliberately manufactured, and strategically positioned. There is a problem on this planet that cannot be solved without you. There is a gap in this generation that only your life can fill. But if you spend your entire life chasing comfort, you will die with that solution still locked inside you. And the graveyard. The graveyard is the wealthiest place on earth. Not because of the gold buried there, but because of the books never written, the businesses never started, the inventions never created, the songs never sung, the solutions never released. You see, death is not the tragedy. Incomplete life is the tragedy. A man can live to be 90 years old and still die prematurely, because premature death is not about how long you live. It is about how much you leave undone. It is possible to be alive and still be in violation of your design. It is possible to be breathing and still be disobedient to your assignment. And disobedience to assignment is the highest form of failure, regardless of how successful you appear to others. Let me tell you what happens in nature. When a fruit tree produces fruit, the fruit is not for the tree. The tree does not eat its own fruit. The fruit is for others. And inside that fruit is seed. The seed carries the future. Now, if you pick the fruit before it is ripe, the seed inside is not fully developed. It looks like a seed, but it cannot reproduce. It is a seed in appearance, but it is sterile in function. And this is what happens to men who abort their process. They rush to harvest before they are ready. They want the reward before they complete the assignment. They want the recognition before they develop the capacity. And what they produce looks good, but it has no seed. It cannot reproduce. It cannot multiply. It cannot create legacy. The most dangerous moment in a man's life is when he confuses early success with complete assignment. When he mistakes the opening chapter for the full story. When he celebrates what he has done and forgets what he was sent to do. Because every man has layers. You are not one-dimensional. You were not created to do one thing and then coast for the rest of your life. You are a multi-dimensional being with multi-generational impact. What you did in your 20s was preparation. What you did in your 30s was testing. What you do in your 40s, 50s, 60s, that is when the full weight of your assignment becomes clear. But comfort seduces men into early retirement. Not retirement from work, but retirement from growth. Retirement from risk. Retirement from the uncomfortable assignments that reveal the deeper layers of their design. I have watched men achieve financial success and then spend the next 30 years protecting what they built instead of building what they were sent to establish. I have watched men gain recognition and then spend the rest of their lives managing their reputation instead of pursuing their assignment. I have watched men reach comfort and then become religious about maintaining that comfort, even when it meant saying no to the very opportunities that would unlock their next level. Comfort makes you conservative with your life. It makes you risk averse. It makes you calculate every decision based on what you might lose instead of what you were sent to gain. And the moment you start living to protect what you have, you stop living to fulfill what you were born for. You become a manager of blessings instead of a distributor of solutions. You become a hoarder of resources instead of a steward of assignment and stewardship. True stewardship is not about protecting what was given to you. It is about multiplying it, investing it, releasing it into the areas where it was designed to produce. Where purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. A man who does not know his assignment will abuse his time, his energy, his resources, his relationships, and his influence. He will spend his best years building things that do not matter. He will invest in projects that have no connection to his design. He will surround himself with people who celebrate his comfort instead of challenging his capacity. And he will die having succeeded at things that were never part of his original mandate. Now let me show you how to recognize whether you are in the dangerous moment. When the last time you felt uncomfortable in obedience to a conviction was more than 6 months ago. You are in the dangerous moment. When you can predict your entire year because nothing in your life requires faith. You are in the dangerous moment. When your current income can sustain your current lifestyle indefinitely, and you have no burden beyond maintaining what you have, you are in the dangerous moment. When people celebrate you for what you have already done more than they challenge you about what you have not yet become, you are in the dangerous moment. Comfort is not evil. Rest is not wrong. Provision is not a problem. But when comfort becomes your goal instead of your resource, when rest becomes your lifestyle instead of your rhythm, when provision becomes something you protect instead of something you deploy, you have reversed your design. You have turned the blessing into an idol. You have made the gift more important than the giver. And you have made the harvest more important than the assignment. Let me teach you a principle. Every seed has two components. It has food and it has life. The food is for immediate consumption. The life is for future reproduction. When you eat the seed, you satisfy your hunger today, but you kill your harvest tomorrow. And this is what most men do with the blessings that come from their assignment. They consume everything, they eat the food and they eat the life. They use every resource for personal comfort and leave nothing for multiplication. They spend their influence on maintaining their image and never invested in raising up the next generation. They take everything they were given and turn it into a monument to their success instead of a foundation for someone else's future. The purpose of blessing is not to make you comfortable. The purpose of blessing is to make you dangerous. Dangerous to poverty. Dangerous to ignorance. Dangerous to systems that oppress. Dangerous to mindsets that limit. When a man is blessed, he does not get comfortable. He gets commission. He does not relax. He expands. He does not retire. He multiplies. Because blessing in the hands of a man who knows his assignment is a weapon. It is not a reward. It is a responsibility. It is not a trophy. It is a tool. Let me tell you about a seed. A seed contains the tree, the forest, the oxygen, the shade, the fruit, the future. Everything that tree will ever become is already inside that seed. But for that seed to become what it was designed to be, it must be willing to die to what it currently is. It must be buried. It must be hidden. It must go through a process that breaks its outer shell, that tears apart its comfortable form, that forces it to reach beyond its current state. And if that seed resists the process because it wants to stay comfortable, it will never become the tree. It will remain a seed, preserved, protected, and completely useless. You cannot fulfill your design without process. You cannot complete your assignment without pressure. You cannot reach your full capacity without seasons that break you, seasons that stretch you, seasons that expose every area where you have been living below your potential. And comfort. Comfort is the enemy of that process. Comfort says stay where it is safe. Comfort says protect what you have. Comfort says do not risk what is working, but design says there is more. Assignment says you are not finished. Purpose says what you have done is just the beginning. The most dangerous moment in a man's life is when he stops being dangerous, when he stops being a threat to the status quo, when he stops being a problem to systems that should not exist, when he stops being a disruptor to mindsets that keep people locked in limitation. A man in his design is a force. He does not fit. He does not comply. He does not maintain. He challenges. He confronts. He creates. He transforms. But a man in his comfort is predictable. He is manageable. He is safe. And a safe man is a wasted man. Let me submit to you that everything you have accomplished so far was training. It was preparation. It was the manufacturer testing your capacity under controlled conditions. But the real assignment, the full weight of why you were born, is still ahead of you. What you have done has qualified you. What you have learned has equipped you. What you have survived has strengthened you. But if you stop here, if you settle into the comfort of what you have achieved, you will abort the very thing your entire life has been preparing you for. Now, I know what you are thinking. You are thinking, but I am tired. I have worked hard. I have sacrificed. I have earned the right to rest. And you are correct. You have earned the right to rest. But rest is a rhythm. It is not a destination. Rest is for recovery, not for retirement. You rest so you can go again. You recover so you can increase capacity. You pull back so you can advance further. But you do not park. You do not settle. You do not build your identity around what you used to do or what you currently have. Your identity is not in your accomplishments. Your identity is in your assignment. An assignment. True assignment is generational. It does not end when you get comfortable. It does not finish when you reach a certain income. It does not complete when people start recognizing your name. Assignment continues until you have released everything that was placed inside you before you were born. Until every gift has been deployed. Until every burden has been addressed. Until every layer of your design has been activated. There are dimensions of your life that will not be revealed until you are 60. There are capacities in you that will not be unlocked until you are 70. There are assignments waiting for you that require everything you are learning right now, but they cannot be fulfilled in your current level of comfort. They require you to keep growing. They require you to keep expanding. They require you to keep saying yes to things that make you uncomfortable, because comfort is the cage that keeps eagles walking when they were designed to fly. Let me tell you what happens in business. When a company becomes profitable, it faces a choice. It can maintain profit or it can pursue growth. Maintaining profit is safe. You protect what you have. You do not take risks. You do not innovate. You do not expand into new markets. You just keep doing what is working and you collect the checks. But companies that choose maintenance over growth eventually decline because the market changes, technology changes, needs change. And a company that refuses to grow eventually becomes irrelevant. You are not a company, but the principle is the same. If you choose maintenance over growth, you will become irrelevant, not to people, but to your own purpose. You will spend the last decades of your life managing a version of yourself that is no longer aligned with your assignment. You will have influence but no impact. You will have resources but no reach. You will have time but no mission. And you will wake up one day, look at your life, and realize that you have been coasting for years. The time is now. The time to disrupt your comfort is now. The time to ask yourself the hard questions is now. The time to stop celebrating what you have done and start confronting what you have not yet become is now. Because you were not born to arrive. You were born to advance. You were not created to settle. You were created to expand. You were not released into the earth to manage comfort. You were released to establish dominion. Dominion is not control. Dominion is influence. It is the ability to shape environments, to shift atmospheres, to create systems that serve people instead of exploit them, to build platforms that elevate the next generation instead of celebrate the current one. And dominion, true dominion, requires men who refuse to be satisfied with personal success, men who understand that they were blessed to be a blessing, men who know that every gift they carry is not for them. It is for the people their life is assigned to serve. Where purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. You will abuse your influence by using it to build your name instead of raise up others. You will abuse your resources by spending them on comfort instead of investing them in solutions. You will abuse your time by filling it with entertainment instead of education. You will abuse your position by using it to protect your status instead of platform the voiceless. And you will abort your assignment because you were too comfortable to complete it. Now, let me show you how to navigate this dangerous moment. First, you must reconnect with the original burden, the thing that used to keep you up at night before you had money to distract you, the problem you used to be obsessed with solving before you got comfortable, the vision you used to carry before you started celebrating small wins. Go back to that burden. It did not go away because you stopped focusing on it. It is still there, and it is still your assignment. Second, you must audit your life for comfort zones. Where are you playing it safe? Where are you choosing predictability over possibility? Where are you saying no to opportunities because they threaten your current lifestyle? Where are you protecting your image instead of pursuing your impact? Identify those areas and make a decision to disrupt them within the next 90 days. Not next year, not when things settle down, within 90 days. Third, you must surround yourself with people who are still growing, people who make you uncomfortable with their questions, people who challenge your thinking, people who refuse to celebrate you for what you have already done and keep asking you about what you have not yet become. Comfortable people will keep you comfortable. Growing people will keep you growing. And you cannot fulfill assignment while surrounded by people who are content with where they are. Fourth, you must invest in something that scares you, something that requires faith, something that cannot succeed unless you grow into a new level of capacity, something that will stretch you beyond your current skill set, your current network, your current understanding. Because the assignment ahead of you is bigger than the version of you that exists today. You must become someone you have never been to do something you have never done, to impact people you have never met. Fifth, you must stop spending your resources on maintaining your lifestyle and start deploying them into your assignment. What you drive does not matter. Where you live does not define you. What people think about your status is irrelevant. The only thing that matters is whether you are advancing your assignment or aborting it. And every dollar you spend on impressing people is a dollar you did not invest in impacting them. Sixth, you must schedule time every week to do something that has no immediate return, something that builds the future instead of maintains the present. Read books that challenge your thinking. Meet with people who are 10 years ahead of you. Invest in skills that your current job does not require. Build relationships in spaces where you have no influence yet. Because the next level of your assignment is not in your current circle. It is in the spaces you have been too comfortable to enter. Seventh, you must become obsessed with legacy again. Not the legacy of what people will say about you, but the legacy of what continues after you. What are you building that will outlive you? What are you creating that will serve the next generation? What are you establishing that does not require your presence to function? Because a man who lives only for his own success dies when he dies. But a man who lives for generational impact multiplies even in death. You are not here to be famous. You are here to be faithful. Faithful to the design. Faithful to the assignment. Faithful to the people your life was created to serve. And faithfulness, true faithfulness, does not retire. It does not coast. It does not settle. It runs until the work is finished. It gives until the capacity is empty. It builds until the assignment is complete. The most dangerous moment in a man's life is right now. If right now is the moment he is comfortable. If right now is the moment he has stopped asking what is next. If right now is the moment he is protecting what he has instead of pursuing what he was sent to establish. Because comfortable men die with their assignment unfulfilled. Comfortable men take their solutions to the grave. Comfortable men spend their last years managing blessings instead of multiplying them. You were not born to arrive. You were born to advance. You were not designed to settle. You were designed to expand. You were not created for comfort. You were created for completion. And completion requires you to stay dangerous. Stay hungry. Stay uncomfortable in the best way. Stay submitted to the process that breaks comfort and builds capacity. Die empty. That is the goal. Not to die successful. Not to die wealthy. Not to die recognized. But to die empty. To die with every gift released. Every burden addressed. Every layer of your design activated. Every dimension of your assignment fulfilled. To die knowing that you gave everything you were given. That you used everything you were trusted with. That you completed everything you were sent to do. The graveyard is full of men who had one more book to write. One more business to start. One more generation to impact. One more problem to solve. But they got comfortable. They settled. They retired from growth. And they died with their assignment incomplete. Do not be that man. You were manufactured for more than maintenance. You were designed for more than managing what you have. You were created for dominion, for impact, for legacy, for completion. And the only way to complete your assignment is to refuse the comfort that kills it. Be original, not a copy. Be faithful, not famous. Be dangerous, not safe. And when your time comes, when you take your last breath, make sure it is the breath of a man who finished, not the breath of a man who quit because he got comfortable. The time is now. The assignment is waiting. Your next level is not going to find you in your comfort zone. Get up, get moving, get back to the burden, get back to the vision, get back to the assignment. And do not stop until you have released everything that was placed inside you before you were born.